Welcome to class P. The previous class we have studied the ways of taking in food, and this class will learn process of digestion in case of humans. As discussed, do we take food by sucking it or by swallowing it or by filtering it or which is floating on the surface? No, we don't do all this. We all know that we put our food into our mouth and chew it properly, and then we digest it and then we utilize it. And you also know that there is a food which is left undigested, and this undigested food is defecated, right? And have you ever thought of like what is happening to the food which is kept into your mouth or which is sent into the body, right? Now let us see. There is a long passage which starts in your buccal cavity and ends with anus, and this is said to be alimentary canal, and the process of digestion happens in the alimentary canal and the glands which are associated with it. Now let us talk about these. Alimentary canal is a long canal which starts in buccal cavity and ends at anus. Now this is a long passage or a long path where the food which is put into your mouth will travel along this alimentary canal right from your buccal cavity to the anus. Do you know what buccal cavity is? Buccal cavity means the cavity, the oral cavity, the space which is present inside your mouth, the space inside the jaws or in between the jaws is said to be buccal cavity. So this it starts in buccal cavity and ends at anus. Now let us talk about the various components of this alimentary canal. The alimentary canal is divided into various other components through which the food passes through, such as buccal cavity, esophagus or food pipe, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum and anus. So the food which is kept in the mouth will travel down the alimentary canal and passes through all these components like buccal cavity, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, anus, and then finally gets digested. You see that the food which is present, which is kept in the mouth, will enter the buccal cavity. It's pushed into the esophagus, then it will go through the soft inner walls of your stomach, where the stomach is associated with many glands such as salivary glands. Buccal cavity is associated with salivary glands, and stomach is associated with glands like liver and pancreas, which secrete digestive juices and which help in the process of digestion. And from there it has been pushed into the large intestine, right? And in the large intestine, you know, the undigested food is being absorbed. So this is how the process of digestion takes place in case of human beings, and the associated glands which are present, they produce digestive juices and help in the process of digestion. Now first let us deal with the first component of the alimentary canal, which is said to be buccal cavity. The buccal cavity or the oral cavity, the mouth and the buccal cavity. We know that we put our food into our mouth. Yes, as we put our food into our mouth, these various components are associated with the alimentary canal, will help in the process of digestion. As I've told you, these stomach, which is associated again with the glands such as pancreas and liver, will help in breakdown of complex substances into simple substances, which will help in the process of digestion. Now first let us start with the process of the first component of the alimentary canal, which is said to be the buccal cavity. Now we all know that we take in food into our body through mouth, right? And the process of taking in food through mouth is said to be ingestion. The process of taking in food into the body, okay? Ingestion is nothing but, it is not injection, okay, what the doctor gives, it is ingestion. So ingestion is the process of taking in food into the body. So we know that when you're hungry, what do? You eat through your nose? No, we don't eat through our nose. We put our food into our mouth, right? And this process of putting in food into the body is said to be ingestion. And as we put our food into our mouth, what does our mouth do? There is a space, you have an upper jaw, you have a lower jaw, which are provided with good number of teeth, right? And what do? These teeth which are present help to chew the food, grind the food mechanically, right? We do this chewing and grinding mechanically so that the food is made into a soft paste, and this process of chewing the food and making it a soft paste is known as mastication. What is it called? Mastication. Process of grinding or chewing the food to make it into a soft paste is said to be mastication. That means we masticate. That means we chew the food with the help of our teeth which are present inside our mouth, and this is done mechanically, right? This is a mechanical process where you chew the food or grind the food to make it a soft paste. So this is what happens inside your mouth and the buccal cavity. This buccal cavity is also known as oral cavity. That is nothing but the space which is present inside your mouth is said to be oral cavity or buccal cavity. As we are talking about the teeth which will help in process of digestion, let us learn few things, or let us learn about the teeth in detail, right? So the teeth which we have, and see, before I start with the teeth which we have in our mouth, that is we begin with adult, let me talk about the infants. Like in the childhood, you often might have noticed that at the age of 6 or at the age of 8, your teeth fall off, and the teeth which fall off are said to be temporary teeth, where you see that another teeth starts growing, right? So these temporary teeth are also called as milk teeth. Usually they fall off at age of 6, and in few children it is even at age of 8 also you see there is a fall of milk teeth. And after the milk teeth falls off, you see there is a permanent set of teeth which rises in the place of milk teeth. That means milk teeth are replaced by permanent set of teeth. So on an average, every adult will have 32 teeth in his mouth, where these teeth are divided into 4 different types based on the function or based on how they work. Now let us talk about what are the 4 different types of teeth we have. Incisors, canines, premolars and molars. Incisors, canines, premolars and molars. So when we talk about teeth, as I've told you, the teeth will help in chewing the food, grinding the food and making it into a soft paste. Now there are different teeth in our mouth that are oral cavity, and the 4 different types of teeth we have are incisors, canines, premolars and molars. So first let me tell you about incisors. You have incisors in the front. Okay, when you smile, say cheese, you immediately put your teeth out, right? So the first 4 teeth, upper 4 and the lower 4 teeth are said to be incisors, and these are also known as biting teeth or cutting teeth. These are also called as cutting teeth. So what the name itself is indicating that when you put your food into your mouth, the incisors will help to cut or bite the food into pieces. And we have canines. See, next to your incisors, there are sharp pointed end teeth. If you stand in front of a mirror and try to observe, you have two on the upper jaw, 2 in the lower jaw. There are sharp pointed teeth. Okay, the pointed end is towards the down, and here it is towards the up, right? You find sharp pointed ended teeth which are said to be canines, and these canines are usually sharp in case of animals, that is carnivores, because the carnivores have to tear the flesh of animals and eat. So when you eat your chicken, you use your canines to tear the flesh. So these canines are also called as tearing teeth. They help in tearing the food. So these canines help us to tear the food. Incisors will help us to cut the food. See, it is not that we eat the same food every day or we have the same ingredients or same recipes every day. We eat different kinds of food for which we need different types of teeth, right? Sometimes when you eat non-veg, you only use your canines because you have to tear the food, only then you can chew it, right? When you eat a bread, you need to, or a biscuit, you need to bite it, or a chocolate, you need to bite, then you use your incisors. So these canines are also called as tearing teeth, which will help to tear the food into pieces, and these are more prominent in case of carnivorous animals. And the next is premolars. When you open your jaw, you find there are flat teeth, okay, on both the jaws. In both the jaws you find flat teeth which are said to be premolars, and these premolars are called as grinding teeth. So when you put your food into your mouth, you cut it, and then what do? You start grinding them, and when you start grinding them, the tongue pushes your food into either sides of your jaw, where this premolars which are present, they help in grinding the food. In the same way, you have molars which are also called as chewing teeth. This chewing teeth will help in chewing the food properly. That means the proper mastication can be done by chewing the food. See, unless until the food is not properly chewed, it cannot be digested. So please, most of the children have habit of swallowing the food, or else they just chew for a second and then swallow. Please chew the food properly so that the process of digestion becomes easier. So these are the 4 different types of teeth which we have, and you know that because of this teeth only we are able to cut the food into the pieces, we are able to make it into a soft paste, we are able to chew the food properly, we are able to tear the food into pieces. This is what you can say, that the teeth are been classified based on the function. As we have discussed about different type of teeth and its function, let me also give you some information. Right, we know that there are different types of bacteria which are present in our mouth which are not harmful. Only if you rinse your mouth after you eat. Right, it is sometimes we don't rinse our mouth properly after we eat, and due to which the sugary, especially when you eat sugary products like chocolates or sweets, what happens, they stick to the teeth, and when you don't rinse your mouth properly, they start eating away the coating which is present on your teeth, which is enamel, and slowly they eat away the enamel, and slowly they start producing a caries in your teeth, that is nothing but said to be tooth decay. So when you have this tooth decays, generally you know that you have to either replace your tooth or you have to visit dentist. So avoid eating, I don't say that avoid eating chocolates or sweets, but be careful when you eat chocolates or sweets, rinse your mouth properly, and avoid eating these sweets or chocolates or sugary foods at bedtime. Okay, and you have to visit your dentist once in 6 months to get a checkup, so that you can clean your teeth and have safe tooth. Right, if at all you don't, when this caries starts, you will have a severe tooth pain, due to which you may not be able to eat anything. So always have a good habit, eat raw carrots, which will always clean your teeth, which will always keep your teeth clean, and have a habit of brushing your teeth twice a day, that is as soon as you wake up in the morning and the time before you go to bed. So these all habits will keep your teeth clean, healthy, and even you can enjoy having sweets and chocolates how much ever you want. Now, as we are discussing about the buccal cavity and the mouth, now let me tell you, like we have seen what happens, like what is mastication, and we also have seen how the food is being ingested into the body. Now we know that as we are discussing about the mouth, we know that there are salivary glands which are associated in the mouth, or which are present inside the mouth. That is, are they present inside the mouth? They are present in the neck, just behind your ear. Here, this is the part where you have salivary glands. So mouth has 3 pairs of salivary glands present. Okay, and we know that these are the associative glands which help in the process of digestion. Now we have ingested the food into the mouth, and we started masticating the food, that is chewing the food by biting it and making into small pieces. So when you start chewing the food, you feel that you are mixing it with some what do you call, juice kind of substance, or some liquid kind of substance in the mouth. That is nothing but saliva. From where is this saliva produced? The saliva is produced from salivary glands, and these salivary glands produce saliva, which will help in partial digestion of food. I'll tell you how. Now for this, let us do an activity. Take 2 test tubes, mark one of the test tube as A and mark the other test tube as B. Now in one of the test tube, take 1 teaspoonful of boiled rice. Okay, take teaspoonful of boiled rice. In the other test tube, take the same quantity of teaspoonful of boiled rice, but chew it, and then along with the saliva you add it into your test tube B. That means you have chewed the food, and along with the saliva you have added into the test tube B. Now add 5 ml of water into both the test tubes. Okay, in both the test tubes add water. Now after adding water, test for the presence of starch. We all know there is a common test to check the presence of starch, that is adding iodine solution. Now add iodine solutions to both the test tubes. Which test tube will show you a color change and why? Yes, the test tube A shows you a color change because the rice which we eat, or the tablespoonful of boiled rice, is rich in carbohydrate. And to test the presence of starch, what happens when you add iodine solution to the starch food, immediately it will turn into violet color. The blue-black solution of iodine turns into violet color. But why doesn't the food in test tube B gets changed or doesn't show any color change? That is because this indicates that the starch or the carbohydrate which is present in the form of a starch is digested or broken down into simple sugars. So from this, what did you understand? There is a partial digestion happening inside your mouth or oral cavity. So the saliva which is produced by the salivary glands will help in breakdown of the carbohydrate chain into a simple sugar. That means the starch which is present in the food is broken down into simple sugar. And we know that our tongue plays an important role. It will help us to chew the food. And you know where is this tongue present? This is attached at the back end to your buccal cavity, and it is free in the front, right? And you can move your tongue in any ways. You can push the food to your left side of your jaw or right side of your jaw, right? You can do this can be done only with the help of tongue. And this tongue, the major function of tongue is it will help us to speak properly. Apart from this, it will also help to push the food into the oral cavity. It will help to mix the food thoroughly with the saliva or tongue which is present. It will also help us to taste the food. You know, our tongue, have you ever just go stand in front of a mirror, open your mouth wide and try to observe your tongue. When you observe your tongue, you see there are small bud kind of structures, small buds or swollen bud kind of structures on your tongue. What are these called? Taste buds. And what do taste buds do? These taste buds will help us to identify the taste of the food. If there are no taste buds, how would you know the taste of the food? How would you know? Like, you may not know whether the food is salty or whether the food is spicy or whether the food is bland, right? So this is only known because when this taste bud starts, or this taste buds will help in tasting the food. So the tongue not only will help us to speak properly, it will help to push the food thoroughly in the mouth so that it gets mixed up with saliva. It will also help us to taste the food with the help of taste buds. And you know, sometimes when we eat, we suddenly get hiccups or we cough, right? Why does this happen? Because see, there is a common passage, there is a passage called food pipe which will throw the food from mouth into the stomach, right? And this food pipe and windpipe are present adjacent to each other. And when you take in the food, if the flap, there is a muscular flap which will separate both food pipe and windpipe. And imagine if this is your food pipe and this is your windpipe. So these are present like this, close to each other. There is a small flap over here which will, a slit or opening, which will allow the food into the food pipe, at the same time air into your windpipe. So if this flap doesn't open on time, the food is pushed into your windpipe. And when the food is pushed into your windpipe, you feel it gets as if it has been choked, or you feel there are you have hiccups. So this is the reason behind why you get hiccups when you eat.